Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Yesterday we discussed falsehood, and the topic was what are the reason people are lying, political reason, religious reason, for sake of name and fame. So the whole chapter is mentioning the hadith and the saying of the scholars. On this topic. So one hadith number, it is a muqaddimah of Sahih Muslim. One great scholar, Sufyan bin Hussain, he said, Iyas ibn Muawiyah, also one great scholar and muhaddis, he asked me, Inni araka qad kalifta bi'ilm al-Quran. I have seen you very keen of learning Quran. Faqra alayya suratan, so recite to me surah, wafassir, and explain it to me as well, hatta anzuru, so that I may see, fima alimta, what you have learned. You are very keen of learning knowledge and Quran especially, so read the surah and explain it to me, so I can see how much you have learned. Qala fafa'altu, Sufyan bin Hussain said, I did. Faqala li, after listening me, he says, ihfiz alayya ma aqulu laka. Listen carefully what I am going to say to you. Iyaka wa shana'ata fil hadith. Beware of narrating the distorted reports, fabricated reports based on lying. Beware of it. He did this nasiha to him. Why? فَإِنَّهُ, sometimes people do this to become famous, but the reality, فَإِنَّهُ قَلَّمَا حَمَلَهَا أَحَدٌ إِلَّا ذَلَّ فِي نَفْسِهِ. So anyone who does that, only zalla fi nafsihi, in reality, rather than becoming famous, he humiliate himself. He disrespect himself. He don't know what the people are thinking about him. He think he becoming very famous, people are talking about him. So people are talking about you is not the issue. How people are mentioning you, this is the issue. For some people, if I just only mention by people and the people know me, this is enough. But people know you with what? As a liar, as a truthful, as a honest, as a dishonest, as a respectable. What is your status? This is more important than to be known among the people. So he advised him, فَإِلَّا زَلَّ فِي نَفْسِهِ. You might be thinking it will make you famous, but in reality, you are humiliating yourself. وَكُذِّبَ فِي حَدِيثِهِ. And the people will deny your narration. Means whatever you narrate, the people will deny. You might be saying something right, but because of your humiliation, you're humiliating yourself, the people will not believe you, the people will not listen to you. And this is exactly in our society happening. You have experience in your own life. When one person sends you a text message or any message which is completely fabricated, once you will read it, second time you will read it, the third time you will not even open his post. You think this person have no sense. He don't know what he is sending, and he don't have a sense of analyzing thing. So zallan nafsahu, the person think he becoming famous, but in reality he is humiliating himself. And this was, I remember one of my friend, when he was started doing his speeches, and he says, when I say this, the people get very excited. I say, listen, don't go to the excitation of the people. Think about how you are exciting people, with a good impression or with a bad impression. They regard you as a scholar, as a teacher, as a learned person, or they regard you as a joker. So there are different ways to be famous in the society. So don't humiliate yourself by doing some silly thing. Always do things very honorably and respectably. The other hadith in this muqaddimah, From Abdullah bin Masud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he said, قال ما أنت بمحدث قوما حديثا إلا تبلغه عقولهم ما أنت بمحدث قوما حديثا لا تبلغه عقولهم إلا كان لبعدهم فتنة. Never narrate a hadith to the people which is beyond their understanding. This is another issue. Sometimes the people are talking and thinking, I have to speak and to mention something very strange and very new, so to be novel. And in the search of novelty, always they confuse people. So Hazrat Abdullah bin Masud, the great muhaddis of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam hadith, says, never ever mention to the people things which make people confused. تَبْلُغُهُ عُقُولُهُمْ إِلَّا كَانَ لِبَعْدِهِمْ فِتْنَةٌ. Your narration, your story, because of higher than the level of the people, or the people don't have understanding, is totally new for the people and beyond their capacity. Rather than educating people, making people confused, say never ever do this. And I always says in a religious field to the preacher, when they start telling the people to scared, कब्रों से आवाज आ रही थी और ये हो रहा था और बिच्छू निकल गए थे और ये, all these things we have to bring it to a level where the people at least think these things has some kind of realities. Though these stories are even written in some storybooks, and in da'wah people are using it a lot, but the reality with a sensible person, when you talk these kind of things too much, so the person will be thinking always you hear the grave, whenever you go to the grave, you hear the donkey voice, you hear this voice, you hear that voice, you hear this, you hear this. But it is not a common practice. We have been to graveyard. We have not experiencing all these things. Alam-e-Barzakh is a totally different word. And you are explaining in such a way like you are somewhere where every single day on a routine these things happening. So some people think if I mention these things, I will make the scared people and bring them to the fold of Islam and make them practicing Muslim. But in reality, they are making people more confused. So this is one example I said. There are many examples. Sometimes they mention a hadith. The person even after listening think how it could be, how it is possible. And if the hadith itself is not very strong, if the hadith is not authentic, the hadith itself is fabricated, the hadith itself either very za'if or even mawzu, and you are mentioning to the people and the people says we are scaring people, we are bringing toward Islam. In reality, you are not doing khidmat to Islam. Hazrat Abdullah bin Masud radiallahu ta'ala says, La tablughuhum uquluhum, never speak to the people over beyond their understanding, the level of their understanding. First of all, you have to look at the level of the people. What kind of audience you are addressing? A very well-educated people, they have a different level of understanding. Ordinary people have a very different level of understanding. The people in a village have a different level of understanding. Those who don't have anything and nothing to do with science and technology, they have a different of understanding. If the people are sitting, majority of them don't know anything about science and technology, they are ordinary worker or business people, and you start talking all the scientific languages and all these things, you are confusing people rather than educating people. So, kallimun nasa ala qadri uqulihim. Speak to the people according to their level of understanding. This is another message is given in this hadith talking about the falsehood, that what make you people believe when you always look at the level of the audience and then you start teaching the people and bringing them to Islam, or preaching them, conveying the message of Islam to them. The other hadith, and this is last hadith for today, Hazrat Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu says, إِنَّهُ قَالَ سَيَكُونُ فِي آخِرِ أُمَّتِي أُنَاسٌ. At the end of my ummah, there will be people, Allahu Akbar, يُحَدِّثُونَكُمْ مَا لَمْ تَسْمَعُوا أَنْتُمْ وَلَا آبَاؤُكُمْ. Hazrat Abu Hurairah said, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, in the end of my ummah, there will be people who narrate to you things that neither you nor your forefather ever heard. Antum wala abaukum. Neither you nor your forefathers ever heard this. Iyyakum wa iyyahum. The Prophet ﷺ says, these kind of people who always try to bring strange things you never heard, your forefather never heard. For these people, iyyakum wa iyyahum, beware of them and stay away from them. The people, these kind of people, when they bring always new thing and confuse you in aqaid, in a'mal, in action, in many things, always bring new things. And this is again the reason behind they want to be unique in the society. They want to be famous in the society. So always try to bring something new. But when they are bringing these things new, they don't know the hikmah, the philosophy, the wisdom. And rather than creating guidance and guiding people, they're creating fitna and confusion in the society. So what is the message of the Prophet ﷺ to the audience of these kind of people? Iyyakum wa iyyahum, beware of them and stay away from them. The best thing to stay away from these kind of people, those who are confusing people on the name of da'wah, on the name of message, on the name of guidance. Kallimun nasa ala qadri uqulihim. First of all, speak to the people according to their understanding. And the second way of safety, whatever is authentic, try your best to verify things and then explain it to the people, read it to the people, recite it to the people, or mention it to the people in your messages. This is the best way. The hifaza is in this, and this was the guidance of Imam Muslim before starting the Kitabul Iman, and few other hadiths, inshallah, we've been mentioned in this regard. And why I'm emphasizing on this, before mentioning any topic, before mentioning any other thing, this is the biggest fitna of our time. Everyone become a scholar, everyone become preacher, and everyone want to be unique, and everyone to do something different than others. These efforts of different, I am reading the namaz, and I want to be now different. For how many things I can try to be different? Everyone try to be different than others. And this is not guidance, this is the greatest fitna. 1400 years before the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned, Iyyakum wa iyyahum, beware of them and stay away from them. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرت ولا دينا إلا قضيت ولا هما إلا فرجت ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا هي لنا الصلاة ولك الرضا إلا قضيتها يا رب العالمين برحمتك يا رب.
मेरा नबी सुल्तान है, मेरा नबी सुल्तान है। वाह 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 वाह।